Hello everybody, and welcome to our StarLink tutorial. In today's video, we're going to go over really in-depthly everything you need to know about the Subaru StarLink infotainment system, and talk about all the different versions and forms, as well as all the features and settings inside of the system. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dig into it. So the first thing I want to do is just go ahead and mention the screen size. As you can tell, we are in the Subaru Outback with the large 11.6-inch display. But I do want to point out that the Subaru StarLink system really remains the same throughout the entire Subaru lineup, even the more normal displays, which are usually 7 or 8 inches. All the features will be pretty much the same, just the orientation is a little bit different here in this Outback. So digging into that, we're going to start out with our main part here. This is what your home screen is, and it's just populated with a couple pages of different applications. Down at the bottom on this Outback, we have a digital home button. On some of the other Subaru models, you will have a physical home button. So I'm just going to kind of go piece by piece through some of the features. We'll start with our navigation system. So Subaru's navigation system is powered by TomTom, and as you can see, it is pretty responsive. So you can click right here on the little search bar when you're ready to type in an address, and you can type right here on this full keyboard, or you can of course use voice commands if you want. You can also search by points of interest, so you can search things like nearby gas stations. Down here at the bottom, you also have the menu button. This allows you to add your home destination, check for recent destinations, and save certain things as favorites if you go to those places very, very often. Now, next thing I'm going to jump into is your radio. So this, of course, is a feature that many people will use, and Subaru's made it very easy to switch quickly between your different sources right up here at the top. You will notice down here at the bottom you have tiles, which are your presets, and you can just page through them. Or you can also, you'll notice it says hold. What you do is just kind of hold down, and that will set whatever you're on as the new preset. And you'll notice this is a mixture of both FM, XM, as well as AM radio stations can all be in the same thing, so you can quickly go between the sources. Now up here at the top, you can click this little button. This is where you'll customize the sound, and you can adjust what types of sound quality you want, depending on the stereo system you have in your Subaru. And then you can also adjust if you want the speakers to play more to the front, more to the back, or right there in the middle. Now your other sound source is going to be your Bluetooth audio, as well as being connected to the USB, and that's actually going to be in a separate application called Media. So when you click on that, it's going to look pretty similar to the radio, except without the presets down there at the bottom. So we've got at the top your different sources that you can page between: Bluetooth, USB, iPod. You may have a CD player like this particular model does. Of course, you can play and pause this. You can switch between your Bluetooth devices right there, and once again you can adjust the sound quality right there with that little toggle. Now, related to media, you also have your phone. So inside of your phone, you'll be greeted with a big display here, which will show you recent calls. I don't have any right now. You can also switch between different Bluetooth devices if you have more than one connected, and then you have a large keypad where you can quickly dial a number. Now you can save favorites, and you also have a phone book, which will allow you to sync over your contacts. So if you agree to that, it will download your various contacts, and it'll just populate right in there, so you can quickly toggle to a certain person's name, click on them, and call them up. Now carrying on from there, we have our applications. So you do have your StarLink app, which is related to your subscription for StarLink. You also have your XM Travel Link apps that's related to your subscription to satellite radio, if you choose to keep that around after the trial period. And then you also notice blacked out, we have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So once you plug in your phone to the USB port, whether it be an Apple or Android device, those will boot up. And you have that standard on pretty much all versions of the StarLink system, though some Subarus may not have it on their basic trim level. Inside of our car info section, this is where you'll find some more advanced information. Here on the Outback, we have some stuff for off-roading. You'll also notice that you can kind of select a certain area of the car to learn about it. For instance, like you can hit that and it will tell you about your auto high beams and how to operate them. And then you also have your maintenance, which keeps track of when your last oil change was, when your last tire rotation, stuff like that is, and then reminds you when you need to get another one. Now, one of the things I do want to point out is that Subaru does allow you to add your own applications to the home display. So to do that, you're just going to tap on this last thing called Add Shortcut, and inside of that you can pick, you know, certain types of information that you may frequently access to become a shortcut. So for example, say in the settings and car settings, we frequently go straight into that. You can now add a tile, and you'll notice now we have the tile called car settings. We can click on that and we can go straight in and do things like turn on and off our rear seat reminder, or adjust the turning on and off the auto start stop system, for instance. Now, we also have some settings down here at the bottom. With the Outback and the Legacy specifically, with the large display, those come with this button here, which takes you directly into various vehicle settings you may want quick access to. Kind of similar to what we just did manually, actually. And then off to the right side, you have a little button with a head on it. This is for your driver profiles. So basically what you can do is set your StarLink system to link to the different key fobs. So you can, for instance, maybe a husband and a wife, they can have different settings inside the profile. When they get inside the vehicle, sense your key fob, and the system will adjust to the presets that you have it on. So that's a lot of the main settings within the StarLink system. However, there's a lot of different types of detailed settings, so we'll kind of dig into that right now. So when you first jump into these settings, you'll notice across the top you have a tabbed interface like most other places inside the system, which makes things pretty easy. So if you click on the first tab, it's going to be General. This is where you make adjustments to various, general settings like your clock. You can change the display brightness right inside of this. Also, if you have a Subaru which has a Wi-Fi hotspot, what you'll do is click on the Wi-Fi hotspot button. You turn it on right there with that setting. Once that turns on, you're going to see the Wi-Fi name. So this is called Subaru Wi-Fi on this vehicle. You also have a password, which is a bunch of numbers and letters. You can click on this if you want to edit it to something that's a little bit easier for you to remember. Now, above that, you'll notice you just have something called Just Wi-Fi. This is actually for you to connect to your home's Wi-Fi, because the StarLink system can get over-the-air software updates. So you connect to your in-home Wi-Fi, and it can update like overnight to get the latest features. So we move down, we have some various things, your reminders, climate control settings, as well as some different things like your hello and goodbye things, different widgets, birthday and anniversary list, periodic rest notification. There's really a lot of different settings inside of the general. Now, if you go into the sound settings, this is related to, of course, all of your sounds. You can adjust the audio quality like we already did, but we can also adjust how loud we want the navigation to speak to us. If we want the beep, like you'll notice every time I touch the screen it beeps, you can turn that off. You can also do the same for your call, your text message tones, and if you want the text messages to read aloud or not. The next section is navigation. One of the things you can do is click the Show on Map button. What this is going to do is allow you to choose different points of interest and things that you want to be on the map always. So for instance, if you're getting gas often, you can turn this setting on. You can go down and choose, gas, or let's say banks, and then every bank will be labeled on the map. Now we'll go ahead and page over to the next section, which will be our phone. This is where you can pair your Bluetooth devices, add and delete different types of phones. We also have text message support, so you can get messages that will pop up on here when you get a text message, and then you can reply with some of these quick messages here. Now, if these aren't suitable to what you typically need to reply with, you can actually click Edit and change this to some other type of verbiage while you're in park. Moving on over to our radio, just some basic stuff inside of here. You can set up things like your parental controls. Then you have car. I'm not going to dig super detailed into this because this will vary depending on which Subaru you have. But as you can see, this can be very extensive. Since this is a fully loaded Outback, we have all the goodies.
Please say a command.
Call Mason.
Okay, calling Mason on mobile.
So what I just did was your voice commands. Of course, the StarLink system, just like any new infotainment system, does have the full suite of voice commands that you can use for calling people, navigation, or even a few more complicated things are available now. But with that, that's pretty much going to wrap up this StarLink detailed tutorial. Hopefully this helped you get a better understanding of the StarLink system if you own a Subaru, or if you're looking to get a Subaru, maybe this will help it. Hope you have a better understanding of the features that you will have access to. But thanks for joining us for this video. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more detailed car reviews and other automotive content.